Chosen one. Lean in, because what just happened in your life was not small, it was not ordinary, and it was not by your own strength. Heaven has shifted something in your favor, and your enemies, those who doubted you, mocked you, and whispered behind closed doors, have been forced to watch. They just witnessed what happens when God decides to lift someone up, and that someone is you. For a long time, you carried the weight of being overlooked, misunderstood, and underestimated. You prayed in silence, you wrestled with your own doubts, and you asked God, "When will it be my time?" And now your time has come. This is the moment where hidden prayers break into public testimony. This is the season where what was locked away is being revealed. And though your enemies tried to bury your name, heaven just announced it. You are being elevated, not in secret, but in the open, where those who opposed you cannot deny it. But hear me clearly. This isn't about revenge, and it's not about pride. This lifting isn't about proving them wrong, it's about proving God right. Because His hand has been on you all along. When people thought you were finished, He was preparing your beginning. When doors slammed shut, He was building the one door that no enemy could block. And now that it has opened, no force in hell can close it. You feel it, don't you? Something has shifted in your spirit. There's a new strength rising inside of you, a new boldness, a fresh fire. That's not your imagination, that's confirmation. God is moving, and He is making sure that your rise cannot be hidden. The same ones who doubted you will be witnesses to your elevation. The same ones who tried to sabotage you will have to watch as God Himself sets you apart. But listen, chosen one, this is only the beginning. The lifting is not the end of your story. It is the sign that the next chapter is unfolding. There is still more to be revealed, more to be entrusted to you, more to be accomplished through you. That's why you must stay ready, stay grounded, and stay aligned. Because with elevation comes responsibility, and with visibility comes spiritual warfare. So take a deep breath. Let this moment sink in. Because what God just did in your life is not temporary, it's eternal. Your enemies just watched it happen. The lifting was public, and the glory goes to God alone. You see, what just happened to you could not have been engineered by human hands. No strategy, no connection, no earthly system could have arranged it. This was authored by God Himself. The elevation you are stepping into is not random, it is divine. It was written before you were even born. It was woven into your destiny when He knit you together in your mother's womb. Every delay, every rejection, every season of silence, it was all a setup for this unveiling. Heaven has been watching you. While others dismissed you, the throne of God had His eyes fixed on your faith. You didn't quit when it got hard. You didn't curse God when things didn't make sense. You didn't bow down to pressure, even when it felt like your back was breaking. And that quiet obedience became the very thing heaven rewarded. The lifting you're experiencing now is not an accident. It's a crown placed on your endurance. This is why you must understand. The source of this elevation is not man. It is not luck. It is not coincidence. The source is God alone. And because He is the source, no one can revoke it, no one can reverse it, and no one can take credit for it. You didn't campaign for this. You didn't manipulate your way here. You simply trusted, and now God is displaying His faithfulness through your life. Think of how Joseph was thrown into a pit by his own brothers, then sold into slavery, then forgotten in a prison. And yet, in one divine moment, God lifted him to a palace seat, second only to Pharaoh himself. Who orchestrated that? Not Joseph, not Pharaoh, not the brothers who betrayed him. It was God. And He lifted Joseph in front of the very ones who had tried to destroy him. That same pattern is unfolding in your story. Heaven has made a declaration about you, and when heaven speaks, earth must adjust. Your name is being carried where your feet have not yet stepped. Your reputation is being reshaped by God's hand, not by gossip or opinion. People are beginning to see the evidence of God's favor on you, and even your enemies are struggling to explain it. They can't deny what their own eyes are seeing. You are being lifted. This lifting is not just for your benefit, it's a signpost for others. God is making you a living testimony, a walking prophecy, a visible reminder that He still exalts the humble and brings low the proud. He is showing through your life that faithfulness is never wasted, that tears are never unseen, and that hidden seasons are never ignored. And as this truth sinks in, don't forget the lifting came from above. So keep your eyes above. Don't let pride rob you of what obedience secured. Don't let bitterness distract you from the blessing. Keep your gaze fixed on the one who authored this moment, because the same God who lifted you is the one who will sustain you. What has just been set in motion is not simply a promotion, not merely a breakthrough, but a prophecy unfolding in real time. You've stepped into a moment that was spoken over your life, long before you had words to describe it. And now that prophecy is breaking through the soil, no longer hidden underground, but sprouting into full view. This is why the atmosphere around you feels charged. Why you can't shake the sense that something larger than life is happening. Why your spirit feels restless, like a runner poised at the starting line, waiting for the gun to fire. That is the vibration of prophecy manifesting. The lifting you are experiencing is not just an answer to prayer, it is a marker of destiny. The Spirit of God whispers, "I am placing you on display, not for your glory, but for mine. I am raising you up as a vessel of remembrance, to show the world that I still choose, I still call, I still exalt the lowly, and confound the wise." The elevation is a signal. My word does not return void. Think of how David was anointed in the field, overlooked by his own father, disregarded by his brothers. Nobody saw a king when they looked at him, but heaven had already decreed it. When the oil touched his head, the prophecy was sealed. The path from pasture to palace was not instant, but it was inevitable. And when the time came, his enemies could not stop what God had spoken. That same oil drips on your story now. Not physical oil, but spiritual anointing, the fragrance of favor, the weight of destiny, the glow of divine appointment. And your enemies are witnesses, because that too was part of the prophecy. God didn't just lift you, He made sure there were eyes to see it. He allowed some of those who mocked you to still be around, so they could watch His word come to pass. The prophecy is this: you will be set apart in such a way that no human logic can explain it. You will rise in places where you were once rejected. You will be celebrated in rooms where your name was once slandered. And the testimony will not be, "Look what they did for themselves." The testimony will be, "Surely the hand of God is upon them." But hear me, this unveiling carries layers. For some, it will look like sudden financial provision after years of struggle. For others, it will look like a door opening in career, ministry, or influence that no one saw coming. For some, it will manifest as reconciliation, healing, or the fulfillment of a long-awaited promise. Whatever the form, the essence remains the same. God is making you visible, undeniable, and unshakable in His timing. And yes, this lifting will stir reactions. Some will rejoice with you, seeing your blessing as evidence of God's faithfulness. Others will wrestle with envy, confusion, or denial, unable to comprehend how you went from overlooked to elevated. But even their resistance fulfills prophecy, because the lifting was never meant to be universally applauded. It was meant to be undeniably divine. The mystery is this: the higher you rise, the clearer your purpose becomes. The more visible you become, the more heaven's fingerprints can be traced on your story. And as this prophecy continues to unfold, you will realize this moment was never just about you. It was about the world seeing what God still does with those who trust Him. So hold this truth like fire in your bones. Your elevation is prophecy revealed. It was written, it is spoken, and now it is seen. Nothing and no one can reverse it. You are walking inside the very word heaven declared over your life. And every step forward is another line of prophecy fulfilled. Elevation always carries meaning. It is never random. When God lifts someone, He is not just solving a problem in their life. He is revealing a pattern, a law, a divine principle that stretches across eternity. To understand what is happening to you now, you must see beyond the surface. You must see with spiritual eyes. The lifting is not only about your personal blessing, it is about the unveiling of God's kingdom. When He exalts you, He is declaring to the spiritual realm that faith still triumphs, that obedience is still rewarded, and that light still conquers darkness. You did not just make it through trials, you were being refined by them. Every fire you walked through burned away impurities that could not go into your future. Every storm that nearly broke you was cleansing your atmosphere of what didn't belong. Elevation, in God's kingdom, is always preceded by crushing. Think of the olive before oil flows. It must be pressed. Think of the grape before wine pours. It must be crushed. You too have been pressed, crushed, squeezed by circumstances that felt unbearable. Yet out of that crushing has come the fragrance of obedience, the oil of anointing, the wine of testimony. And now, the lifting is the proof that none of it was wasted. This is why the lifting is public. It's not because God needs to show off, it's because He is teaching. He is showing the world what happens when a life is surrendered, when a heart refuses to bow to idols, when faith remains in the face of betrayal. You have become the parable. You are the sermon in motion. The meaning of your elevation is not just that you are rising, but that through you, God is reminding the world, I am still the lifter of heads. I am still the breaker of chains. I am still the one who calls the overlooked and crowns them with glory. Think about the metaphors written into your journey. The storm you thought would drown you became the very waters that carried you closer to shore. The wilderness that seemed barren became the training ground where your spirit grew strong. The door that slammed shut in your face became the redirection that aligned you with the path heaven designed. Each symbol is shouting something. God is sovereign, and nothing is wasted. Seasons also speak. There was a winter season where everything felt frozen, silent, unmoving. That was the time of hidden roots, when God was building depth in you that no eye could see. Then came spring, little shoots of hope, small confirmations, quiet whispers that He was still working. Summer brought heat pressure, intensity, warfare that tested whether you would endure. And now you are entering harvest, the autumn season, where the fruit of obedience is visible. Your elevation is the ripening of a long-planted seed. And journeys speak too. You walked through valleys, where shadows loomed, and the way forward seemed uncertain. But valleys, though low, are fertile. What grew in you, there could not have grown on the mountain. Then you climbed hills of resistance, facing opposition that built stamina in your spirit. And now, as you stand on higher ground, you realize the climb was necessary. The view only comes after the struggle. The deeper meaning of this lifting is that your life has become a testimony to divine timing. God's delays are not denials. They are preparations. Had you been lifted too soon, you would not have been ready. Had you been elevated prematurely, you would not have had the wisdom to sustain it. But now, after fire, after tears, after waiting, you are not only ready to be lifted, you are ready to remain lifted. Because the same storms that once shook you have now trained you. The spiritual principle is this: humility before honor, endurance before exaltation, hiddenness before harvest. You lived these truths in silence, and now God is making them visible through your life. Others will look at you and not only see blessing, they will see a roadmap. They will see how faith carried you when logic failed, how patience anchored you when storms raged, and how trust in God positioned you for what man could never give. So let this truth echo deep within you. Your lifting is not only your breakthrough, it is your parable. It is God's sermon to the world. And the meaning behind it is simple, but eternal. Faith still moves mountains, obedience still opens doors, and love for God still leads to victory. When God moves in your life, He always leaves traces, small signals, holy echoes, confirmations that whisper, yes, this is real. And if you've been paying attention, those signs have already begun appearing around you. Some of them are subtle, easy to overlook unless your spirit is tuned in. Others are undeniable, loud enough that even those who don't believe can sense something is shifting. These signs are heaven's fingerprints, evidence that your lifting is not a dream but a living prophecy in motion. The first sign is a change in atmosphere. You've felt it walking into familiar places, yet they don't feel the same. Conversations you once tolerated suddenly feel too small for where you're headed. Environments you used to fit into now feel tight, almost uncomfortable. That's not rejection, it's confirmation. Your spirit is outgrowing spaces your body hasn't even left yet. God is preparing you for rooms that match your new elevation. The second sign is unusual resistance. Yes, even in the middle of blessing, opposition rises. People who once ignored you suddenly have opinions. Old relationships surface, not to reconcile, but to distract. Unexpected problems pop up, trying to pull your focus. This is not punishment, it's proof. The enemy resists what he cannot control, and your lifting is beyond his reach. The warfare you feel is simply an indicator that breakthrough is real. The third sign is divine alignment. Doors open without explanation. You meet people, by accident, who carry keys to your next assignment. Opportunities you never applied for suddenly appear. You overhear words that feel tailor-made for your situation, as though God is slipping confirmations into your daily routine. Pay attention, these alignments are heaven's way of saying, I've gone ahead of you. The fourth sign is inner restlessness. Something inside you knows you cannot go back. The old routines no longer satisfy. The old conversations no longer feed you. Even the old dreams feel too small. This restlessness is not frustration, it's expansion. Your spirit is stretching, preparing to walk in the fullness of what God promised. It feels like hunger, but it's really readiness. The fifth sign is unexpected favor. People begin to notice you without you trying. Your name comes up in conversations that lead to blessing. Things that once took years suddenly accelerate. Where you used to be invisible, now you are undeniable. This favor is not accidental, it's evidence of God's hand lifting you higher. And the sixth sign is spiritual confirmation. Dreams that repeat with clarity. Scriptures that leap off the page at you. A sudden wave of peace that defies circumstances. Even nature seems to echo sunrises, feel like promises. Storms like cleansing. Whispers of wind like gentle reminders that you are not alone. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. So pause, reflect, and notice these signs are already circling your life. You are not waiting for elevation to come. You are living inside it, and every indicator around you is heaven's way of saying, yes, this is me. Yes, this is now. Yes, the lifting has begun. Every lifting carries hidden weight. From the outside, it looks like glory, celebration, and favor. But those who walk in it know the truth. Elevation is never free of challenge. It brings hidden battles, quiet pressures, and invisible tests that only those called to it can understand. The first challenge is isolation. With elevation comes distance. Not everyone who started with you can go with you. Friends who once felt close begin to feel far. People you thought would celebrate your blessing suddenly go silent. At first, this hurts. You wonder if you've done something wrong. But hear me, it's not rejection, it's pruning. God is trimming away attachments that would weigh you down in this new level. You are not losing people. You are gaining clarity. The second challenge is misunderstanding. As God lifts you, not everyone will comprehend how or why it happened. Some will reduce your blessing to luck. Others will quietly resent it. A few may even spread false stories to explain it away. This can be painful, because you want others to see your heart. But remember, their inability to understand is not your responsibility to fix. Even Jesus was misunderstood. Even Joseph was misrepresented. Even David was misjudged. You are in good company. The third challenge is pressure. Visibility brings expectation. People will look at you differently. Some will expect perfection. Others will test your character, waiting for you to stumble. At times, you will feel the weight of their eyes. But don't forget, the same God who lifted you is the God who will hold you steady. You were not elevated by man, and so you are not sustained by man. The pressure is real, but so is God's grace. The fourth challenge is spiritual warfare. Whenever light rises, darkness resists. You may notice old temptations trying to resurface. You may feel unseen battles intensify attacks on your mind, your peace, your confidence. Don't let this discourage you. It is not proof that you are losing. It is proof that you are winning. The enemy fights hardest when he knows he has already lost. Your very existence in this lifted season is a declaration of his defeat. And the fifth challenge is patience. Elevation doesn't mean instant completion. Even after Joseph was lifted to the palace, years of famine and responsibility tested him. Even after David was anointed king, battles and betrayals came. Elevation is the doorway, not the destination. God has given you access, but the journey still unfolds step by step. Waiting in obedience is not punishment, it is preparation for greater glory. So if you feel isolation pressing in, if you sense misunderstanding swirling, if pressure is building, if warfare feels intense, don't panic. These are not signs of failure, they are signs of promotion. They mean you are in the right place at the right time. They mean the lifting is real. And most of all, they mean God is still with you, even in the challenges. Now that the lifting has begun, you cannot walk the same way you did before. Elevation is not just a gift, it is a responsibility. And with responsibility comes instruction. Heaven is not leaving you to guess your way through this moment. The Spirit of God is speaking, guiding, and directing you with clarity so that you can sustain what has been given and step fully into what is ahead. The first instruction is this: stay anchored in humility. Do not forget where you came from. Remember the tears, the prayers, the nights of wondering if God still heard you. Let gratitude be your daily posture. Pride will try to creep in, whispering that you did this, that you earned this, but you know better. It was grace, not your strength. Humility is your shield. As long as you bow low before God, no power on earth can topple what He has lifted high. The second instruction: guard your atmosphere. With elevation comes visibility, and with visibility comes voices. Not every voice deserves your attention. Some will come disguised as encouragement, but will secretly drain you. Others will try to plant seeds of doubt or comparison. You must become intentional about who and what you allow into your spirit. Protect your peace as if it were treasure, for it is. Fill your space with worship, with scripture, with prayer. Let the word of God become louder than any opinion around you. The third instruction: move with discernment. Every open door is not a God door. Some opportunities are distractions, dressed as blessings. You will be tempted to say yes to everything, to prove you are ready, to prove you belong. But wisdom is not in saying yes to all, it is in saying no to most, and yes only to what aligns with your assignment. Ask God before you step. Wait for His peace before you commit. Discernment will save you from detours. The fourth instruction: prepare for greater stewardship. Elevation is not just about you receiving, it is about you carrying. You will be trusted with more influence, more responsibility, more authority. But with that comes the need for discipline. This is the season to refine your habits, prayer habits, financial habits, relational habits. What you neglect in private will echo in public. If you are faithful in little, God will entrust you with much. The fifth instruction: stay in the secret place. Public lifting must always be anchored in private intimacy with God. Do not trade your secret time with Him for the noise of applause. Do not exchange your altar for a platform. The higher you rise, the more you must retreat into His presence. It is there that you will find strength, clarity, and protection. The secret place is not optional, it is survival. The sixth instruction: walk in boldness. Elevation does not mean ease, it means responsibility. There will be moments when fear tries to paralyze you, when the magnitude of what God has placed in your hands feels overwhelming. But remember, God did not lift you to leave you trembling. He lifted you so you could stand as a testimony of courage. Step boldly, speak boldly, live boldly. Boldness is not arrogance, it is agreement with heaven's call on your life. And the seventh instruction: carry love wherever you go. Remember this: elevation without love is empty. Influence without compassion is dangerous. Authority without humility is destructive. God lifted you so that others might see His love through you. Even in the face of enemies, even in the midst of jealousy, even when misunderstood, choose love. It is your greatest weapon, and it will outlast every attack. So here is heaven's counsel: stay humble, guard your atmosphere, move with discernment, prepare for stewardship, dwell in the secret place, walk in boldness, and carry love. These are not suggestions, they are lifelines. They are what will sustain you in the days ahead. For God has not just lifted you to shine for a moment. He has lifted you to remain, to endure, to fulfill the assignment written for your life. With every new height comes new exposure. Elevation shines light on you in ways that can feel both exhilarating and overwhelming. But hear this clearly: you are not stepping into this season uncovered. God has not lifted you to leave you vulnerable. His protection surrounds you like a shield. His hand covers you like armor. His presence goes before you like fire in the night. Think of how a fortress surrounds a city. Thick walls, watchtowers, gates locked from the inside. That is how God is built around you. His angels stand guard, unseen but undeniable. His spirit rests upon you, whispering warnings when danger lurks and giving peace when storms try to unsettle you. You may not always see the protection, but you feel it, the unexplainable calm in the middle of chaos, the way certain traps never caught you, the way attacks fizzled before they reached your heart. Your enemies watch the lifting, but they will not be permitted to touch it. The same God who exalted you is the God who preserves you. What He opens, no one can shut. What he blesses, no curse can reverse. What he crowns, no thief can steal. This is your assurance. The lifting is sealed under divine authority. Even as opposition rises, know this heaven has already anticipated it. Weapons may be formed, but they will not prosper. Words may be spoken, but they will fall powerless. Schemes may be plotted, but they will unravel before your eyes. You will see it. Attacks that looked fierce at first will collapse into nothing. That collapse is your confirmation. God is your defense. And protection doesn't only mean shielding you from harm, it also means guiding you away from paths that would have destroyed you. Have you noticed how certain doors closed, even when you wanted them open? That was not rejection, it was redirection. Have you noticed how some people suddenly exited your life? That was not abandonment. It was God removing unsafe hands from your destiny. Protection is not always visible. Rescue, it is often unseen prevention. As you walk forward, let this truth anchor you. You are not walking alone. The God who lifted you has assigned angels to accompany you. You are being carried by prayers you didn't even know were prayed, by promises spoken over you generations before you were born. The covenant of protection over your life is ancient, unbreakable, and sealed in blood, the blood of Christ, who already overcame every power of darkness. So breathe deeply. Let peace flood your chest. You don't need to live in fear of losing what God gave you. You don't need to tremble at the thought of attack. You are wrapped in protection, hidden under His wings, surrounded by fire. And the assurance is this: you will not only rise, you will remain. There comes a moment in every divine journey where the waiting breaks, where the crushing ends, where the promise no longer lives, only in prayer, but in reality. You are standing in that moment now, the beginning of fulfillment. What once felt like a distant prophecy has become your living testimony. The transformation is already evident. Look at yourself closely. You are not who you were a year ago. Even the trials that nearly destroyed you have become the very proof of your strength. What used to shake you no longer has the same power. What once made you anxious now makes you pray. What once felt like rejection now looks like redirection. This is the evidence of growth, the unseen work of God inside you, bearing visible fruit. But the transformation is not only inward, it is spilling out, touching every part of your life. Where there was lack, provision is flowing. Where there was silence, doors are opening. Where there was confusion, clarity has arrived. The lifting has begun to reintroduce you, not as the broken, overlooked version of yourself, but as the refined, anointed vessel God always saw. You may notice people looking at you differently, speaking to you differently, even treating you with a respect they once withheld. That is not coincidence, that is fulfillment. God said He would prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies, and now the table is set. What was once whispered in mockery is now being spoken in awe. The same mouths that gossiped are forced to confess, surely the hand of God is on them. Fulfillment feels like peace, where there used to be restlessness. It feels like joy that bubbles up even when circumstances aren't perfect. It feels like alignment, the sense that your steps are ordered, that your timing is not off, that you are finally walking in rhythm with heaven. It is not that everything suddenly becomes easy, it is that everything finally makes sense. The beauty of this transformation is how it multiplies. Your blessing is not just for you, it becomes a testimony for others. Those who watched you endure will now watch you flourish. Those who thought you wouldn't survive will see you thrive, and your story will give them hope that if God could do it for you, He can do it for them too. This is the fulfillment of a promise far greater than any personal dream. For years, you prayed for breakthrough, but God was not only preparing a breakthrough, He was preparing you. Now, when He lifts you, it is not just so you can say you made it. It is so you can stand as living evidence that His word never fails. So take this in. This transformation is the harvest of hidden seasons. This fulfillment is the fruit of silent obedience. You are walking in the yes of heaven. The very places that once broke you are now bowing before you. And the blessing that has begun is only a shadow of the glory yet to come. Fulfillment is not the end of the story, it is the beginning of the greater story. For when God fulfills one promise, it is only to position you for the next. The elevation you see now is just the opening scene of a greater play. You will not only taste blessing, you will carry legacy. And the transformation you now live in is proof that God has been faithful every step of the way. As this message comes to its close, take a deep breath and let the truth sink in. You have been lifted, not by accident, not by luck, not by man, but by God. And what He establishes, no one can uproot. This is your moment to speak life over yourself, to agree with heaven's decree, to seal this prophecy in your own spirit. So repeat these affirmations. Let them echo in your chest until they take root. Affirmation 1. I am lifted by God, and no one can bring me down. Affirmation 2. I am protected, covered, and sustained by His hand. Affirmation 3. I am walking in divine timing, prepared for every step ahead. Affirmation 4. I am a living testimony that God's promises always come to pass. Say them slowly. Let them become more than words. Let them be declarations, shields of faith that guard your mind when doubt tries to creep back in. These affirmations are not just positive thinking. They are prophetic agreement. They are your way of saying to heaven, I receive what you have spoken. Now, hear this blessing. May the peace of God surround you like a river. May His light guide every step you take in this new season. May your enemies see and be silenced, not by your strength, but by His glory revealed in your life. May doors swing open before you that no hand can shut. May your heart remain humble, your spirit discerning, and your faith unshakable. I declare that the lifting over your life is permanent. It will not be reversed. It will not be diminished. It will not be delayed. The same God who raised you will keep you, will grow you, will carry you into even greater fulfillment. Your name will not fade, it will echo, not for your glory, but for His. Walk boldly now. Walk peacefully. Walk expectantly. Because the one who began this good work in you is faithful to complete it. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And the testimony of your life will continue to unfold, line by line, miracle by miracle, glory by glory. So step forward, lifted, protected, transformed. The blessing is sealed, the prophecy is alive, and the hand of God is upon you, now and forevermore. Amen.